Because of an essay that she wrote, she's feeling the full force of education and union thuggery coming down on her, and it's trying to break her spirit. She's been reduced to tears by these people who, by the way, are supposed to be teaching and encouraging our children. Isn't academia the place where all thought is supposed to be welcome? It's all great. Yeah, only with tenure is that true. These people have nothing to lose. How about, hey, teachers, professors, why don't you come to the real world where you can lose everything for speaking out? You can lose your jobs, you can lose your liberty, you can lose your life for speaking out. You come out there and you say these things. You know you won't, why you won't? Because you're a coward. It takes courage to do what she just did. And we must care, because whatever happens to her will happen to us. Free speech, oh, it's still available in America, but only if your opinion doesn't go against the machine and all of its parts. And that machine is turning faster and faster and faster. You remember when America gathered around the TV and we all breathlessly waited for O.J. Simpson and the verdict of that trial? That was a day that my view of America changed. I didn't even understand it. I mean, I think the guy is clearly guilty. But half of America cheered, and I didn't understand it. Well, I think I do. It's not that they necessarily loved O.J. Simpson. That's not why they were cheering. They were cheering because he beat the system. I believe many people of my pinkish hue are just beginning to understand that cheer a little bit more today. But it must not send us into revenge or anger. As we watch Tea Partier Kenneth Gladney getting beat up by union thugs, SEIU, and then nothing is done about it. The union thugs get away with it. As we watch the Black Panthers, the voter intimidation case, mysteriously get dropped for no good reason. It doesn't make any sense. As we watch Fast and Furious get brushed under the rug, under the table, and nothing happens to clearly criminal acts. As we watch the full force of the IRS now being hoisted at the Tea Parties, while Occupy Wall Street is embraced by the same authorities. And while we now see a little girl in Rochester brutalized by an education system that is supposed to be helping, all the while that education system is crying about diversity and crying about the children, using children and diversity as their shield. It's easy to see how people cheered when the system was turned around. But just like that cheer, I think, wasn't really about race. None of these stories is really about race. It's about power. But the great thing about our side, and I say our side, meaning the American side, is that side's not about power. It's about freedom and truth and love. Jada's essay has been made all about race, but it is actually about the educational system. They're reacting this way because she just shined a light on their corruption and incompetence. And they're so afraid that if a 13-year-old girl does it, they have to have that big power slap her down. That's pretty. You want to talk about frightened people. They are frightened of a 13-year-old girl. Big power always does this. They try to slap you into silence. So all we have to do is promise ourselves and each other that we will not be silent, that we will stand with love in our heart, with malice toward none. It's going to get harder from here, gang. Have you prepared mentally and spiritually yet? Please. Please prepare. We have been talking about freedom of speech all week on this program. I went to the Vatican a couple of weeks ago, and I was shocked at how, as I'm talking to these guys, they were most concerned about America losing their freedom. I really thought that we would have a lot of conversations about how much trouble Europe was in. And I was told, warning, you're about to lose your freedom to express yourself and freedom of speech. And I said, I think you guys are too. And they said, but we see it coming. Your people don't. They warned me that it would go quickly, faster than I ever thought. That turned me around a couple of weeks ago, and boy, I tell you, they're right. We're losing it, and it is happening at a rapid pace. When an 8th grader sees it, when an 8th grader is slapped down into silence, when she cries because she understands that freedom of speech is on the ropes, we're in trouble. And if those tears don't convince your friends or neighbors that this is real, nothing will. But we have to do what Paulina taught me, and that is we cannot go off the cliff with the rest of society. Meaning, in the words of Lincoln, with malice toward none and charity toward all. We stand up. Got to get our butts off the couch. If we don't, we'll become like the Chinese, who are so dead inside that they can walk right by a dying 2-year-old and do nothing. It's horrible. People walked by, people drove over the body. Sometimes they would stop after they hit the body the first time, and then they'd move on. Because they knew if they got out and took the body and tried to do something, it would just be more trouble. They knew they couldn't get involved. They didn't want to say anything because it would cause too many problems for them or their family. Freedom, truth, and love. Those things keep the lights on. But those lights are growing dimmer and dimmer with each passing day. And we have to see the weakest among our brothers. And when they are attacked, we adopt their cause as ours. And if we do not, that light will grow more and more dim. Jesus said, assuredly, I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of these, the least of my brothers, you did it to me. He's saying, don't be indifferent. That is the opposite of love. And love is what keeps the lights on. And everywhere it is being lost. And where it is lost, society collapses.